Today I'm going to be talking about the top 3 exercises to avoid doing at the gym if you have bad posture. What's up everybody, it's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and in today's video, like I said, I'm going to be covering 3 exercises that you don't want to be performing in the gym on a very frequent basis if you have poor posture. Number 1 is going to be excessive amounts of trunk flexion moving forward, okay? So think of things like sit-ups, crunches, ab machines, anything in which you're doing this, okay, over and over again. And the reason for that is by doing those movements over and over again, especially with resistance using like an ab machine, what you're doing is you're shortening up the rectus abdominis, the abs. And when these things become extremely tight, what that does is it contributes to something called thoracic kyphosis, which is rounding of the upper back. You can kind of see that. I mean, this motion requires rounding of the spine, right? So if these muscles become very, very tight and dysfunctional, you're basically going to kind of get stuck in this position. Now, that's not to say that those kind of exercises don't have their place in a well-rounded exercise routine. However, it does mean that if you're somebody that has kyphosis, if your back is already rounded, then doing lots of volume of those exercises for lots of repetitions, lots of sets on a very frequent basis can make it worse. So if you have a rounded upper back, I would recommend you cut back on performing that exercise. Number 2 is going to be chest flies, either with a machine, like a cable machine, or with free weights, okay? Doing lots of chest flies is really going to shorten up the pectoral muscles, and that can really exacerbate and lead to internally rotated shoulders, like this. Every gym in the world has a bro that has a huge chest that's walking around like this, with shoulders pulled forward and internally rotated like that, okay? So unless you want to be walking around like that, lay back on the chest flies. Substitute those exercises for pushing exercises, which gets recruitment in other muscles. So things like push-ups and bench press won't create as much dysfunction as doing chest flies for high reps and sets will. Number 3 is going to be back extensions, okay? So this applies for most people. If you have an anterior pelvic tilt, meaning that your pelvis is tilted forward, like that, your butt sticking out, and your back is excessively arched and chronically tight, then doing back extensions are going to make that even worse, okay? It's going to reinforce the pattern that you already have going on. With that being said, doing back extensions is not bad for everybody. Actually, if you have a posterior pelvic tilt, then strengthening up those spinal erectors might be beneficial. But just keep that in mind. If you have an anterior pelvic tilt and your lower back is chronically tight and you can actually feel tension in there, and you're kind of foam rolling in there all the time, then stop doing back extensions, or again, lay off of doing them in high volume. On a concluding note here, all of these exercises have their place every once in a while in a well-balanced exercise program. However, if you're doing these things over and over again, like chest flies every week, training your abs every week with trunk flexion, and you have bad posture, these are definitely contributing factors to the posture. They're probably making it worse. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then go ahead and give it a like down below. Comment and share it with your friends. Lastly, if you would like to have me as your personal coach, then go ahead and click the link down below that says coaching. Other than that, I'll talk to you next time.